Whoop whoop. Those poor
Welcome,
people.
everybody. Welcome, everybody. Tactical Turkeys. I have Boomstick Babe. She's been on the front lines in Colorado. She is an affiliate of Spartan Defense. You all got, everyone knows Spartan. Yeah, we got some shenanigans going on in Colorado. Hopefully, we can kind of clear the air here and let everyone know what they can do and what's at stake right now.
Because there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot. They kind of so for those that don't know, on Friday they kind of switched the wording on this bill last second and turned it into a FOID card type situation.
If you guys don't know what a FOID card is, we'll explain to you what that means, but it's pretty bad. So if you go, so first of all, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Sorry guys, I look like absolute POS. I look like shit right now. I could say shit on here, right? I can cuss.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can say caca. Can I say caca? So I'm like, I've been teaching a class all day. I didn't know we were gonna do this live, but this information is like super duper important for us to share. So we might as well just get into it and start spilling the beans. What's up, everybody? Chris, hi, how's it going? I'm doing my best to like follow along with the chat because I'm new to the whole cool chat thing. So FOID cards is basically, it's very similar to what they have in like Illinois. So let's just go over what happened. So let's start with on, what was it, Wednesday night or Thursday night?
Yeah. Last week. It was last week, but
no, it was this week. It was
this week. Yeah.
It just happened. It happened the night of the 13th into the morning of the 14th. So early morning, like 1 o'clock in the morning at like 1 a.m. on the 14th. So what happened is Senate Bill 25003, which is the most egregious assault weapons ban Colorado has ever seen, or the nation has ever seen, was on the Senate floor for debate. So two senators that I absolutely can't stand created, well, they didn't create this, they proposed this bill, Senate Bill 25003, which is the Assault Weapons Ban 3.0. And so they didn't write this. This bill was literally written by Everytown for gun control and given to them for them to, propose here in the state of Colorado, because we have an overabundance of Democrats who hate guns and they want to get rid of as many guns and gun owners from the state as possible. So they proposed this bill that would ban basically all magazine fed semi-automatic firearms, which, if you think about that, that's so many guns, it's ridiculous. So we pushed back on it. We had a lot of people come out to testify. You're welcome to go and check out my social medias and see all that stuff. But then they did pass it that first round. Then it went to Senate floor for them to debate. So they were debating that on the night of the 13th into the morning of the 14th, all night till like 1, 2 in the morning. And what they did is they decided to change it around. They amended it, which they made it more egregious, which, you didn't think that things could get worse. Well, they can. And I'm going to explain to you why. I'm going to just read this stuff. So the first thing is what they wanted to do is take out the ability to have grandfathered high capacity, which is, as we all know, standard capacity magazines. So say you had, they made it from a class 2 misdemeanor for large capacity magazines to a class 1 misdemeanor, which I think that goes up to 14 to 18 months in jail.
Yeah, that's right below a felony.
Yeah, it's pretty big. So what that did is basically increase penalty severity for these violations for dangerous weapons definition. That's section 1812-102 in the Colorado Revised Statute, because we gotta like that. So it basically says you're removing machine gun conversion devices, which is what they think are rapid action or, binary triggers, forced reset triggers. So they're saying that they want to get rid of those things because they turn guns into machine guns. Then what they said from that is turn it into basically a FOID card. So what they're saying is, in addition to getting your concealed handgun permit paperwork, so they passed in 2024 language that changes the concealed handgun permit process in Colorado, making it said, like, for right now, currently, all you need to do up until July 1st of 2025 is take a class by a certified instructor. It could be a classroom class. I'm literally sitting in my classroom because I taught one tonight. They get their certificate. They go to their county. They apply for it. We're a shall issue state. They get their concealed handgun permit. It's good for 5 years. The certificate normally would have been good for 10. They're changing it now. So in addition to the regulations for concealed handgun permit, you now need to take 8 hours worth of classroom time. You're going to also have to take a mandated live fire course with a certain passing rate, and also a written exam with a certain passing rate. And also firearms instructors are required to get certified by the state. So even though I've passed a national course saying that I'm certified, even though I train all the flipping time, even though that I'm well-versed in firearms handling and education, I still now have to ask the state for permission in order to teach. So that's ridiculous. So we already have those that are changing in July. With this bill, they would add additional requirements to buy a gun similar to a FOID card, saying that you are now going to have to take a class, like a handgun and firearm safety class, and that would be governed by the Department of, I think, Wildlife, and they would have to pay for that in the class, and then that money would go straight to the Department of Wildlife. So essentially, I would have to be a state employee as an instructor employed by the Department of Wildlife in order to educate people. So that is really, really stupid. So this is one step before registration. I want people to really understand that. So when you start getting these types of regulations, right now, currently, Colorado is 6th in the nation for gun control bills. So we are 6 out of 50 when it comes to the amount of gun control laws we have. If this passed, rebuked in Jesus' name, honey, that it doesn't, but if it did, this would put us in the top 3.
Oh yeah. Well, I would even go further because we already have the vehicle shit going on. We have the 3-day waiting period.
Which is my lawsuit.
Yeah, and I mean they're just tacking them on. And you said something about all these extra classes and shit. That's not going to be free to people. They're
No.
basically saying only the rich get guns.
Yes, which is the origination of gun control. So let's take a step back here for all of you tuning in, and let's go deep into this and why gun control is inherently racist. First of all, my name is Alicia Garcia. Okay, on paper, people don't even think I speak English. They think I am not even an English speaking person. My name is Alice Jones, translated basically. So the origination of gun control is inherently racist because in the 1800s, when the Republican Party wanted to give political, socio, and economic equality to freed slaves and people of color, so that meant anybody who was not American white Protestant, so blacks, browns, Asians. Keep in mind at that time, there was a lot of people from Asia and other countries of the world that are also coming here on boats, right? So it's more than just black people, it's brown people, it's Asian people, it's people that are non-Protestant white. The Republican Party wanted to give socio-political and economic equality to those people. And the people who had a monopoly on violence, aka the white supremacists, who also were normally your military and law enforcement and government in these towns, okay, said, we don't want that. We don't want our slaves being able to resist or stand up against us. So what are we going to do? We're going to create the Democratic Party. And through the Democratic Party, they ratified state constitutions throughout the South to make gun control law. Yeah. And one of the biggest ones was in the 1800s in Tennessee. They created the military and Navy law that basically said if you could not afford or have a firearm that was issued by the military, you were not allowed to possess and carry firearms. So which you're broke, right? Because you're just a freed slave that was just freed. You're not military and you're not Navy. So a gun at that time, like $1,000, okay? You can't get a gun. We created a barrier that's a financial barrier. So now you can't get a gun. So now who's controlling violence again? Right? The people that were slave owners. So that is the root of gun control. And keep in mind, that was how they enforced it because they monopolized the violence. So that's why it's very, very important that people understand that the Second Amendment is not about Democrat versus Republican? Is it about liberty versus, control? So whoever holds the gun is the one in the control. So it's either a tool of oppression or it's a tool of liberty. So that's why we're fighting so hard in Colorado, because this is one step before gun registration.
Mm-hmm.
And we also know that registration equals confiscation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we're headed here right now.
Yeah. I mean, and they also nixed like veterans too, right? Like they took them off. There used to be like veterans were grandfathered in or whatever. I think they took us off of that too, right?
I am not sure on that. I don't want to misquote the law. That's something I'd have to look into. A lot of times in these bills, they make exceptions for law enforcement.
Right.
And I know for sure that they always make exceptions for law enforcement. And why is that? Because that is the enforcer of the hand of tyranny.
Yeah.
So who is going to continue to enforce these tyrannical infringements? The people we made exceptions for. So they are able to have these types of guns. They're able to do these types of things. You would have to be an enforcer of that in order to bypass it. But that's not the only bill that was heard that day. There was also House Bill 251133, which would put restrictions on who has access to ammunition in the state of Colorado. It would raise the age to purchase ammunition to 21, which, if you think about it, that's just another way to prevent people from being able to train, because it is not illegal in the state of Colorado to own and possess a firearm at 18, but you cannot buy one until you're 21. It used to be you were able to buy long guns at 18 years old. You can't do that in the state of Colorado anymore. That is being litigated also by Rocky Mountain gun owners. I would need to check to see where the status is of that lawsuit.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at.
Their
So
goal is to get
go ahead.
guns out of society. Like that's the end goal. No matter what law it is, what new freaking thing they push, their end goal is to breed being an independent gun owner out of society. Like that's their goal. That's their main end goal. You know what I mean? So when they're doing these little ticky-tack laws like this, the taxes, the wait 3 days, all this, they're just trying to deter people, add in extra money on getting licenses, all that shit. The less people they have owning guns, the less it's going to spread in society of being a law-abiding gun owner. You know what I mean? Like,
so I mean, let's get down to the brass tacks of it, because it's really very, very bad. So not only those aren't the only gun laws that they're propositioning right now. They also have a mandatory or way for people to red flag themselves.
yep.
And I know that sounds ridiculous to a lot of people out there, like, who in their right mind would red flag themselves? Well, if you guys aren't, first of all, if you guys aren't familiar with what a red flag law is, let's talk about it. It is called ERPO, Extreme Risk Protection Orders, or also known as red flag laws. They have had red flag laws in the state of Colorado since 2019, and they have proposed deeper and more crazy red flag laws pretty much every year, including this year. So what that means is this is a way that they can bypass your due process and confiscate your firearms and ammunition. And it is up to you, the respondent who has been red flagged, to prove to the courts that you are indeed of sound mind and body and not a harm to yourself or others. So what they say is, hey, if you are a spouse, somebody that lives with you, a law enforcement official, sorry, my broken nail, because, we'd be doing gangster shit. So law enforcement, teachers, and medical health professionals can say, they can petition the court and say, hey, you know what? We feel Joe Blow is a danger to society because they have these guns. And we feel they're either a harm to themselves or others, and we want to red flag them. The court would have an emergency hearing within 72 hours. They would confiscate your guns and ammunition, and then it would be up to you, the respondent, to prove to the courts that indeed you are worthy to get your personal property back. And that is how they bypass your due process, because they confiscate your personal property without even a conviction or proof that you are of danger. Now, why is this dangerous? Well, one, it opens the door to a lot of rebellious and evil things. Like, who's to say that I didn't say Fish? I was in love with Fish, and I said I was his lady, and I don't like him because I have a bias. Maybe they believe me and say that I'm his lady, and I'm not even his lady. And I say that he's threatened me and we were lovers and we have an intimate relationship, and they go and they confiscate his guns and ammunition. Now, with these types of bills where they're proposing to make these guns illegal, who's to say in that time frame, now that they've already taken possession of your firearms, they don't deem that those guns are now illegal firearms, now that they don't have to give them back to you.
Right.
So now you've been completely disarmed without even being convicted of a crime.
And your property's
So
been stolen
and,
illegally.
and now your property's gone. And now with civil asset forfeiture laws in the state of Colorado, because we now have those, because they passed that too, they can take that personal property of yours and sell it and put that money back into the police department to enforce more tyrannical infringements upon you, yourself, and your family and friends. This is how ugly they attack us, and this is how they come at us from so many different angles, that it's not just gun control laws that they're passing. They're passing laws that, for example, we had a law on the books that was proposed that would make it illegal, or excuse me, a felony to be in possession of a stolen firearm. Well, they didn't pass that. So now, say for like Spartan Defense that got a car ran through their shop by teenagers, they still didn't commit felonies by being in possession of stolen firearms, even when they're caught. That's asinine to me. And there's also laws that they passed that made it legal for a felon to change their name as long as they identify as transgender. So say you are a violent offender, a pedophile, somebody who does awful things, and you are a registered sex offender, and then you go and change your name and you're identified because you identify as trans. That is another barrier that prevents people from knowing you are a criminal person. You are a prohibited person from being in possession of firearms.
Wild. So instead of going off there, criminals we already know are doing crimes, they're just trying to make more criminals out of law-abiding citizens.
Yep.
It's fucking
and they're making
wild.
it more difficult for people to exercise their human and civil right to self-defense. And they're also attacking gun shops. This is literally a death by 1,000 cuts. They've imposed a permitting process that gun shops now have to go through, that they have to pay a state permitting fee of $400 per permit that a state gun shop or a gun shop has. Keep in mind, a lot of these shops have 8, 9, 10, 13 permits. And that's $400 for each one of those. And in addition, they have to fingerprint and background check every one of those employees and pay for that.
Not only that, they passed the tax bullshit, so we got that coming too.
The excise tax.
And that's gonna
that's
trickle down to
6.5%.
Yeah, that's gonna trickle down to the average person buying ammo and guns.
Absolutely.
That's who's gonna get hit. Like,
so this is a complex, very tactful, very well thought out attack on multiple fronts to I don't even want to say law abiding anymore, because they're turning us into criminals.
Right.
So it's to the point where it's like, even right now, if they would ban magazines of a certain round count or a certain type of guns, that automatically makes me a criminal just by being in possession of things that are inherently my right as an American citizen. So if you guys don't have a sense of urgency of what's going on here, I'm doing my best to paint a big picture of how awful and how bad this is.
Yeah, it's real bad. They don't care either. I don't know if do you want to show the clip of Tom Sullivan?
Oh shit! If you can, please do so.
Yeah, I can do it right now.
Let's give a background before we show this video, so people understand who they're watching and what they're seeing.
Okay.
So there is a senator in Colorado, and his name is Tom Sullivan. Tom Sullivan has been a senator for quite some time. I believe it's Arapahoe County and Douglas County. I might be wrong though. We can look that up and let's make sure that we're saying the right thing here. But Tom Sullivan's son died in the Aurora movie theater shooting when that happened here in Colorado. So Tom Sullivan used that as his jumping point to become a senator in Colorado. Since he has been a senator, he has used his personal tragedy of the loss of his son in a violent way to basically attack gun owners and create laws to make gun ownership illegal. So he is championing the death of his son as his way to make Colorado atone for the violence that he experienced. Now, let's not negate the fact that what he did experience was awful. Absolutely. Nobody should have to experience that. However, it has been shown very many times that the person, I won't even say that person's name because they get no They get no love here. That person will never get any fame. But that person literally said that they passed up other uh, locations that he wanted to commit violence in because he knew that the place that he chose was a soft target. There was not security, there was not barriers that would intervene from him being able to commit these acts of violence. So he went there because it was a soft target, committed the acts of violence that he did. Tom Sullivan has now championed his cause to attack gun owners and make us the whipping boy to atone for that loss. Well, Tom Sullivan is also the sponsor for the SB 25003.
Mm-hmm.
So that gun bill was written by Everytown, and he is notorious for being very aggressive and very mean. Ian Escalante is the executive director for Rocky Mountain Gun Owners. Shout out to them. Okay. They are the pro 2A organization that fights for Colorado rights at the Capitol. Obviously, all of us do, but they are the main organization that is pro 2A, uncompromising. So during the session the other night on the 13th, Ian Escalante was in the hallways of the Capitol and was approached by Tom Sullivan, and they got into a kind of an altercation, and this is the video of that altercation that we're going to show you.
Yep. And also, I don't know if you want to tell people who he's funded by, because it's not like he just ran through and won everything by himself.
Oh no. I mean, most of these, if not all of these senators are funded by like Everytown for Gun Control, Michael Bloomberg, all of these, Moms Demand Action, all of these organizations that are very, very anti-gun.
Right.
So they are on the take. So just listen to how he talks.
I was trying to find out they had left a box in front of my office. But I'm just saying, there's a box of trash and nothing. I mean, it's just a box with some paraphernalia, some papers on it or something. There's a box of trash. My assumption is that somebody is going to come and try to schedule an appointment. Someone left it there. It looks like it's your organization.
It's not a box of trash. It is
until someone tells me what it is. And we could go over whatever the materials are that you left there at my office.
Did you open the box?
No, there's no reason for me to open the box. And no one has contacted. I mean, it looks like it's your organization.
It's not a box of trash.
I get thousands of emails, not a single one from them. It looks like it's your organization.
It's not a box.
I get hundreds of phone calls, not a single one from them asking for an appointment.
They're from your district.
They're not mine. Nobody gave them to me. Someone left them on the floor.
We tried to give them to you.
I'm telling you. So when I saw the director, I said, I saw this. Are you going to make an appointment? Are you going to tell me what this box is? I'm just saying, there's a box of trash. And he said, well, we dropped it off. I said, yeah, apparently you dropped it off. I said, but I don't know what it is. I'm just saying, there's a box of trash. And I'm not putting it in my office. I'm not going to do anything with it unless you tell me what this is. It looks like it's your organization.
It's not a box of trash.
And then he just started shouting at me. And it was like, well, you won't talk to me. I said, I'm talking to you right now. You don't want to have a discussion about it? Fine.
I'm more than happy to have a discussion about it.
That's what I'm trying to ask you.
Okay.
Did you make an appointment? Do you want to have an appointment? I'm talking to you right now. What is this? I'm just saying, there's a box of trash. Tell me what this means. And he started shouting, this is stuff from your constituents. Well, then let's sit down and take a look at it.
Did you open the box?
No, there's no reason for me to open the box. Didn't want to do that. So I said, okay, fine. We'll see you.
I think they're saying it was petitioned.
They're from your district.
But they're not mine. Nobody gave them to me.
Right?
That's fine. Then let's have a meeting. Sit down and show me the petition from my constituents. Show me who they are and where they live and how you did all of this organization. I mean, otherwise it looks like it's a box of trash. Box of trash. Incredible waste of money. I mean, they get all of this money from their members, and that's what you do. You spend $100 printing up something and putting it on the floor. Why don't you have a meeting with the legislator and explain to them? You don't want to have a discussion about it? Fine.
I'm more than happy to have a discussion about it.
These are your constituents. Here's where they live. This is their concerns. What can I tell them going back? then we could have that conversation. But they just want to stage, events like this. If that's
He
your only
came up to
question,
me.
I'm asking the question.
I did not approach him. He came up to me.
I don't know if he was wearing the body camera. I know when they testified, they for some reason were body cameras, but they had their friends with their cameras, along on the side. I've been here 7 years. All they do is talk at me and to me. None of them actually want to have a conversation with me. What are you offering me in a bunch?
What I'm offering you is for you not to try to violate the rights of 6 million Coloradans.
Where is the give and take on this? Are you offering any kind
Our
of a give and
motto
take?
is no compromise. We support the Second Amendment as written.
This
Shall
doesn't
not
have
be
anything to
infringed.
do with it.
It absolutely has everything to do with it. There's thousands of people from your district who don't want this legislation to pass. It's the only thing we were trying to convey by dropping that off. We dropped that off to every single senator, and many of them received them with open arms and didn't have any problem with it whatsoever. For the folks that were there, they said, okay, great, I have messages from my constituents.
I don't know what why would I look at a box of trash? I don't go through trash. And here I gave him an opportunity. Yeah, let's pick up this box, let's take it in and sit down at a chair, and you can explain to me what all of this means. He didn't want to do that. You didn't leave it, so
You're claiming it's trash. It's not trash.
I think it is until someone tells me what it is.
I just told you what it is.
All right, well, I'll toss it out. Thanks so much. He wanted to, take pictures and make an event. I'm just saying, there's a box of trash, which is what he got. So I'm getting phone calls from, disgruntled people.
They're from your district.
I'll toss it out. It's like, well, that's what it is. I mean,
Okay, do what you got to do.
I'm doing it. Aren't you listening?
Oh, I listen.
doing it.
You're trying to violate the rights of 6 million Coloradans.
I'm just saying, there's a box of trash.
They're from your district.
I'll toss it out. Thanks so much.
Okay.
Fuck Tom Sullivan. Sorry I said a bad word, but that's how I feel, ladies and gentlemen.
That's who these people are. They think they're better than you. They fucking smell their farts in the bathtub. Like they're fucking pieces of shit, dude. Like,
So let's give some backstory on this because this is hilarious. So a couple years ago, because, keep in mind, I've been doing this, there's other people that have been doing longer than me. But I've been doing this, for a good chunk of time now. A couple years back, and I posted it on my social medias. I might pin it and resurrect it so people understand how these people behave. I was sitting in front of Tom Sullivan and another senator by the name of James Coleman one day talking about a gun control bill because that's all they put in front of us, right? And of course, Tom Sullivan is always championing the death of his son, blaming high capacity magazines because he likes to call them that, saying that if that person, he bought them online and he had thousands of rounds of ammunition and blah, 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 blah. And he did all these awful things, right? And I specifically said to Tom Sullivan that I'm sorry for what he went through, but his ability to heal is lacking. He needs to get some mental health care. He needs help. He doesn't need a platform. He doesn't need a position in government. He needs help. He is a grieving father. He needs to step down because he is obviously exercising bias against an entire community of people. He is fulfilling his own personal agenda rather than having the best interests of what Colorado and the people need. And that he doesn't get the opportunity to gamble with the safety of my family based on his loss. And I got gavelled for that. If you don't know what that means the big wig on the panel gavels you, and he told me, which was James Coleman. He said, you're not allowed to address any member of this panel directly. He kind of warned me that I went on too long and he let me speak too long. This is how entitled these people are. These people work for us.
yeah.
They are our employees. They need to make sure that they're doing what's in the best interest of us, we the people. And they feel so entitled that when I address them directly, which is my absolute right, that's the entire purpose of having public committee hearings, they gavelled me and want to quiet me because they think that how I feel is not relevant.
Mm-hmm.
and they don't respect us. I want you guys to understand this also. It's not that the government is anti-gun. They are not anti-gun. They just don't want us having them
Right.
because they're happy sitting up there in their gold towers protected by these guns themselves. We have to disarm, we have to go through security checkpoints, we have to jump through all of these hoops in order to get down to that Capitol to speak to them. And if you walk the halls of those capitals, especially when there's hearings out there, I counted last time for the assault weapons ban hearing, there was eight armed officers outside of that courtroom. 8.
They should, the people that pro these bills should be the ones doing the red flag raids and all that shit. Like, they should be the ones coming to confiscate, because I promise you, there's law-abiding good Americans who are not going to play this shit. Like,
Well,
that's
there's
what's
people
going
that are
to
going to revolt.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, what they don't understand is that people are going to get pissed off and people are going to start getting violent. And I'm not saying, hey, go out, everybody act a damn
No.
fool and be violent. What I'm saying is they're pushing people to the point of no recourse.
Right.
And that's where people get pissed off and that's when people act out. And there's also other things going on. First of all, I would love to see Tom Sullivan being recalled. But there is another guy by the name of Tony Exum.
Yep.
And that's who we need to talk about as well too. So Tony Exum is a what is his position? Let's just pull it up right here.
Congressman, right?
So he is a congressman, I believe, Tony Exum. Let's pull up his information. He is a Colorado state senator. Okay. Let's get his information up for everybody too. He is part of the local government and housing. He's the chair of that. He's the Black Coloradan Racial Equality Study Commission. He is on the Transportation and Energy Committee. His Capitol phone number is 303-886-6364. He is room 346 at the Capitol. Okay. So you can reach out to him. You can also email him. And his email is tony.exum.senate@coleg.government.gov. Okay. And this guy, feel free to tell everybody what that says, but essentially Tony Exum, he deserves to be told that he needs to represent the people of his district. I believe he is somewhere in El Paso County. Is that correct?
Yeah, he's playing it real because he's in El Paso, which is pretty much all right. I mean, with the amount of military bases and stuff, our sheriffs have already said they're not going to go along with any of this shit. So being a Democrat in El Paso, you're already on thin ice, right?
So he's District 11 in El Paso County. And right now he is kind of wavering to support these gun control measures. And we need to let him know politely, and I mean that, let's be real here. I'm a bitch and everybody knows I'm a bitch, but that's okay. But when you speak to these people, you need to speak to them with honor. I'm not saying you have to respect them. I believe respect is earned, and I think these people have done nothing to earn our respect. But speak to them with honor, speak to them with dignity, and speak to them and represent this community with the way we need to be respected and behaved, because they're looking at us already like we're crazy, even though we have people like Tom Sullivan acting all crazy the way he does. But this guy is wavering on how he is going to support gun control. So if this guy does support gun control, and before he does, we the people need to reach out to him. You need to call his office. You need to email him. You need to @ him on X. You need to let everybody know on his team that we are willing to recall him. We are willing to get him out of his office. We are willing to chop him out. Yep. Because he is supposed to be there representing his people. And if he does not want to do it, we will make sure he goes away.
And for a little bit more information, he's the deciding vote on this. That's why this guy is going to end up being the deciding vote on what happens with this. So we need all hands on deck. Anybody out there, you want to send an email, let him know, hey, where you stand, what the Constitution means, and for him to politely oblige to when he made that oath on the Constitution in a polite manner. So because he knows he's on thin ice already, he is the deciding vote on this, and this is our last stand with this
And
guy.
he's being a little bit wavery. So if he's going to betray the voices of this people, and you need to let him know, if you support any action that supports gun control, we will make it our personal duty to make sure that he is recalled out of office.
And then remind him that the FOID card has already been ruled unconstitutional. Like, so no matter, even if they pass this, we're going to end up beating it somewhere down the line in the courts, right?
But we don't want it to get there.
No, we don't want it to get there. We don't want 2 years of hell in Colorado. Like, you know what I mean? Or whatever it's going to take.
Straight up.
Let's just end this right here with this guy. Let him know, guys. Do what you can. We're begging you. All your brothers and sisters in Colorado need this right now.
And here's the thing is, you can also sign up for information on this and testify to support. We're working on something a little bit different, but right now, I want to give a shout out to my friends, Leslie Hollywood and Ava Flanell. They're really good friends of mine, and they've been really good friends of Liberty lately. They created a website called We the Second that has a lot of really good information that you can go and check out. And they have on their front page of We the Second, I think it's wethesecondcolorado.com. You can email all your senators, and don't worry about a script. Don't worry about like, hey, people are like, well, what do I say? Speak from the heart, man. Tell them the truth. I'm a Coloradan. I believe in my right to self-defense. I believe in my right to protect my family. I also feel that you are treading on our rights and our human rights, and I implore you not to do that. I am a constituent. I'm a taxpayer. This is what I want. You are an extension of me. You are supposed to represent the people and not yourselves. And if you have personal stories or things of that nature, share that stuff. Remind these people that you're human and your voice and your lives matter. And I mean, you could even write them. If you have a stamp and a letter and a pen, write these people, bombard them. Like, for example, what we just saw with Tom Sullivan. I'm really proud of Ian, by the way. Shout out to Ian at RMGO for maintaining his cool and handling that with grace, because it takes a lot of discipline to be able to not get pissed off when someone's being that disrespectful and rude to you. And that's the way we want people to understand. We, as the people that are the most armed society in America, it's not that we are not fluent in violence. We are absolutely fluid in violence, but we don't conduct ourselves violently. We conduct ourselves with integrity and discipline. So shout out to Ian for conducting himself with integrity and discipline. And that's exactly how I want people to understand this armed people behave. And obviously these people are loose cannons and they don't know how to control themselves. So the petition that he brought to Tom Sullivan that day was thousands and thousands and thousands of people from his district who signed a petition saying that they did not want that. And he clearly ignored it, treated it like it was crap. He didn't know that he was being recorded from different angles of different people. And that's the thing, is these people need to be exposed. They need to be shown for what they really are. And I heard a rumor, and maybe I'm a bad girl for putting this out there, but I heard a rumor. So if there's anybody out there that is really good in investigative reporting or in digging into stuff, you go ahead and you reach out to me. But I heard that Tom Sullivan is not even allowed to have staffers anymore because he is abusive to those staffers. And he lashes out and he speaks very mean to them and treats them like crap. And I also heard a rumor that one of his first staffers committed suicide. And, to me, those are all red flags that these people are very volatile and dangerous. He has very, very much lost his way. And I'd like to see him lose his job. Because if this is how he's treating people and his constituents, and this is how he values people,
yeah,
he needs to go. He needs to go. Same thing with Tony Exum. It's time for him to realize that the power lies in the people. And we also have another bill that's on the books right now that has been filed. Well, two of them that we could talk about. A couple of them. One is making it a felony again to possess a firearm that is stolen. Representative Ryan Armagos has proposed that again. He proposed it last year. We want to see that pass. There is also a bill that would repeal the state permitting for gun shops. That's on the ballot also, or on the, that has been filed. We want to support that as well. There is also constitutional carry that has been filed in Colorado by Representative Weinberg. I hear a lot of people tell me, oh, that'll never pass, that'll never pass, that'll never pass. I am really sick and tired of the apathy and the defeatist attitude in the Second Amendment community. People want to sit here and say that we're losing to commie mommies and dudes in dresses. who use pronouns and stuff, that's our fault, not theirs. If we are supposed to be the most armed and prepared private militia in the whole world, we need to start acting like it. And we need to start holding the line and resisting and saying no and having some balls and pushing back, which also means getting involved. Quit having this, oh, I donate $25 to my local gun people. Oh, they'll fight it. Oh, it's unconstitutional. That won't pass. It's passing, folks. These things are passing left and right, and it's because people have stopped fighting. People have stopped getting involved and making this important. If you are not into politics, guess what? Politics is into you.
Yeah. It feels like, not to like cuck out and shit, but like it feels like almost like a lose-lose situation. Like it feels like the only answer is to show them what the Second Amendment really means, but that at that point you're falling right into their bullshit. You know what I mean? Like,
and you can't be good fathers and you can't be good people if you're in jail.
right. It's like, God damn it.
So even if what they're saying is unconstitutional, even what they're doing is criminal, guess what? We're not idiots either. We need volunteers. If you would like to volunteer if you have media skills, if you have video skills, if you have videography skills, if you want to be part of our street team and you have those types of skills, if you want to support us, we have a place for you.
Mhm.
Because right now we need all hands on deck. We need volunteers to make phone calls to FFLs. We need volunteers to show up at the Capitol. We need volunteers to go knock on doors in these people's districts and let people know what's going on.
Is it possible to set up an armed rally or march, or is that not
Here's
a
the
thing?
thing. If we set up a rally and if we want to do it in the city and county of Denver, we will all go to jail if we're walking around with guns.
Right.
Because Denver, you can't open carry or display firearms. And there's also the menacing law in Colorado. And I'm sure a lot of people, if we had a rally where we're walking around with guns, they would all charge us with menacing and we would all catch a case. And that is just foolish for us to make ourselves targets. I think we can have a rally. I would love to have a rally, and I'd love for people from all over the country to come show up on that lawn of the Capitol. If you would like to be a part of that, we could absolutely make that happen. But here's the thing. People say they want to do it, but they don't want to get up off their asses and get involved. I hear people all the time say, well, I work. I can't testify. Well, are you going to have a job if you work in a gun shop if you're not making time to be there? Like, you guys make time to, do stupid shit. You need to start making time to make this stuff a priority. Is it inconvenient? Yes. Is it taxing on your time? Yes. Does it suck? Yes. Why do you think they make it hard?
Right. And then change the fucking writing in the last week.
Yep.
Snakes, bro. That should be illegal. You should have to resend that back to the beginning.
So there is this video that I recently watched on YouTube that shout out to Big Timber Lodge. He reminded me of its existence and I completely forgot about it. I don't know why. And I will share it with everybody. I'll post it on my social medias if you guys want to follow it. But it is basically how the big four of Colorado stole Colorado to turn it Democrat.
Right.
One
They
of them
got
is Jared
us
Polis.
with the weed, right?
Well, that's one part of it. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't
Dude,
have a problem.
when I moved here, I was buying guns at 7-Eleven gas stations out the trunks. Person to person, just.
Oh, the good old days of
And
liberty.
then it just went right downhill from there.
Now you got to do a goddamn blood sample at this point, man.
Yeah, fucking DNA.
For real. Retinal eye scan and shit. But that's what I'm saying is like, they know that this is a very, very well-funded, well-planned out attack. They know what they're doing, and they've been doing it strategically for years. So it's time for us to start getting united, open up communication in this community, and start working together. We need people. We need a street team. If you want to be involved, if you're in Colorado and all these counties, we need people to go places and do stuff for us. We need graphic designers. We need people with videography and media training and StreamYard training. And we need people with media connections. We need people with political connections. Are you a journalist? Do you want to write articles? We need you. Yeah. Do you have training and information you could offer? We need you.
And don't get it twisted. They're using, this is the the testing ground of this shit. They're gonna move this to your state eventually.
Yes.
I promise you.
And,
Like,
and you know, I hear that a lot too. And that shit pisses me off. Like, I'm the plaintiff in the 3-day waiting period case. I'm Garcia and Garcia versus Polis. I'm suing the state against, or Jared Polis against a 3-day waiting period because it's an infringement. This week, Maryland, I believe, just found the 3-day waiting period to be unconstitutional, which is great because it sets case law and precedents to help support my case. But keep in mind, they pick states like this because they can make things happen. They purposely designed it so they have Democratic senators and Democratic House representatives and people that are anti-gun. For an example, what's her? I think her name was Diane DeGette. This is how sneaky and crappy these people are. This is how shady these people are. She ran for re-election knowing that she would win, won, and then retires so she can appoint somebody in her place. So she basically gaslit the entire Democratic Party of Colorado so she can appoint somebody in her stead rather than allowing the people of Colorado to voice their opinion of who they would want in that seat to represent them. And she's not the first one or only one to do that. Last year, we had the two sponsors of the assault weapons ban last year were very openly socialist and communist.
yeah.
And those were the founders of the assault weapons ban. And both of them were appointed. They weren't voted in.
Right.
And they place these people strategically because they're playing chess while we're over here with our thumbs up our asses saying, oh, that's unconstitutional, shall be infringed. I lost all my guns in a boating accident. Stop learning to learn with infringements. Stop being apathetic. Start holding yourself accountable and take responsibility for your rights and get involved. And if you don't know how to get involved, reach out to us. You can volunteer time. You can volunteer your resources. If you are a federal firearms licensee, whether you're a home FFL or a gun shop, we have the CFFLA now, which is the Colorado Federal Firearms Licensee Association that Sean Steele put together. I'm the founding secretary of that. I'm also in charge of a lot of initiation and bringing people in. Teddy of Spartan Defense is the vice president. We have some amazing people on the board. Empire Gun Club's on there. We're working with over 100 FFLs across Colorado now to get them involved because he felt the need to have a trade association representing them in all of this stuff because this community is under attack.
Yeah,
So if you are FFL and you
think
know
about
them,
that too.
reach out.
Think about how many people are going to lose their jobs over this.
Mm-hmm. And how many people are going to lose the right to self-defense because this is how they do it. This is strategy.
Be right back.
They purposely filter this stuff out so people don't know that they're losing rights. For example, you know, one of their arguments about the semi-automatic magazine-fed gun ban was, well, you're not going to lose the guns you own now, so why are you worried about it? What about the person that turns 18 or 21 after that ban has been passed and they no longer have access to firearms? What you're doing is grooming an entire generation after us and generation after us to not expect to have the rights of self-defense because they won't even know what it means because they'll be prevented from having it. It's the same thing that they did with privacy. Look back in the day where privacy was such a huge issue. Nobody wanted to share personal private information because it was a violation of your right to privacy, which is an amendment, is a Bill of Rights amended right. You have a right to privacy. But now in the day and age of social media and technology and all of this stuff, people are so used to having their privacy violated that they want it violated now. Because why? Because there's an entire version of society that only knows privacy violations. So they don't even know that they're losing something in the first place. And that is what this is. This is a design to groom out the warriors, groom out the tools, and replace them with bootlicking, stand in line, do as you're told, spoon-fed. The government is here and they will take care of me as people of society.
Yeah, it always like hurts my brain to think about it because it's like when people kill people with cars, we don't blame the car ever, right?
Mm-mm.
For some reason in our society, there's a large contingent of people who blame the object, the tool, that has no bearing on the situation. We need to address mental health.
We absolutely do.
We need to address bad parenting. We need to address like the real issues here. You know what I mean? The poverty, the fucking. But no, let's just make some new criminals up.
Well, the problem is, I don't think people even understand in the state of Colorado, they passed a law that allows manufacturers of firearms to now be sued and held responsible for violent acts.
Yeah.
So if somebody gets killed by Ruger, the family of that victim can sue a Ruger.
That's crazy.
That's like being able to sue Ford because of drunk drivers.
But you can't sue any of the COVID injections, remember?
Nope.
They made sure to pass laws you couldn't do that.
We have an abundance of gun control in Colorado. And I don't think people really understand how absolutely ridiculously abundant it is here. I teach a class here. I just taught a concealed handgun class, and most of my class is talking about infringements, and it sucks. It breaks my heart every day to sit up here and tell these people all of the stuff that they cannot do, when I should be telling them their rights on how they can train, access to education, mental health resources, because Colorado is 47th out of 50 in access to mental health care.
Wow.
That's low. We're in the top 6 in the nation of gun control, but 47 out of 50 in mental health care and resource. What does that tell you? So let me get even more disgusting here. Colorado created the Office of Gun Violence Prevention in 2021. It cost Colorado taxpayers $3 million to establish that office. The studies that they've conducted, the first 2 years, they found that 75% and then the next year 73% of gun deaths are all suicide. But they use those numbers
as
to say gun deaths in Colorado. So gun death numbers are inflated by 75% of suicide.
And they moved the goalpost on mass shootings too.
Yes. So rather than saying that we have a mental health problem here in Colorado, they're saying we have a gun problem.
Right.
And they use those numbers to take away your rights. And they tell you things like, oh, guns are the leading cause of death amongst children. Well, first of all, when they say that, they're using 17, 18, and 19-year-olds in that, which are obviously mental health issues. I don't think 18 and 19-year-olds are kids anymore. Also, they're not doing anything to combat the mental health issues.
And not only that, they're not prosecuting the crimes that are already on the books.
Exactly.
Like they're not even the people who are committing these gun crimes. They're not making it. They're making it easy. Like, oh, you're a 17-year-old. Here's a slap on the wrist. Go do something. You know what I mean? Like.
So we have a question in the chat. Somebody said by Rip Curl Readiness said, hey, did they already pass the assault weapons ban in Colorado? Well, they have tried. This is the 3rd year they've proposed it. They just, if you're just starting in, they just had a Senate hearing about it, and Senate Bill 25003. And now they turned it into a FOID card bill, basically, where you're going to have to get additional certification from concealed handgun permitting in order to get your firearm or to have possession of firearm, and amongst other things. So it's pretty bad. It's pretty stupid. You could reach out to Governor Jared Polis and you can tell him you don't want this, which I highly suggest you do, because Governor Jared Polis does not want to be the guy that signs the biggest gun bill or biggest gun ban in history. He has his goals because he is one of the top 4. He's one of the notorious 4 that helped groom Colorado to be democratically ran. And like I said, I'll share that video with you guys for you guys to see it before they take it down. And he wants to be president. He has his eyes set on the White House. And if he signs a bill that bans all of these guns, that will ruin his chances. So he wants to be seen as libertarian. He wants to be seen as the good guy. So if you push back on him and tell him you don't want any of these gun bills, let him know that you don't. You can call him. His constituent service line is 303-866-2885. His email is governorpolis@state.co.us. And his other email is gov_constituentservices@state.co.us. So let him know that you don't want any of these things, because he's a key factor in this. And if he gets more pushback from people, the better.
What bearing does the macro political environment right now have on this? Like, do you feel the support from higher up? Like, obviously, what Trump just signed and all the
Like a federal level? How
Yeah,
is the federal level going to
all the
affect this?
federal rulings that have been going down. Like, do you feel that has any bearing on our chances, even if they pass this shit? Like, you know what I mean?
Well, when it comes to the feds, usually we don't want federal stuff involved on state level, right? We like to keep the power in the state. But our state government has become so unruly and so self-serving and violating our rights left and right. It's down to the point where we need the federal government to come in and and clean some house, right? So we need to kind of get these people to catch cases. We're seeing that now with the immigration issue that Tom Homan is like, hey, yo, governor, or, Mayor Mike Johnston, if you don't cooperate with the feds, we're going to arrest you because you're preventing us from doing our job that we want to come in and we want to do a sweep of all this stuff. I think that it is going to take some significant pressure from federal level things to eradicate gun control here in Colorado. I am one of those people that I do not want to count on it because I want to fight this as if no one else is fighting it. I want to have the sense of urgency. Yeah, great. I would love for them to come in and do some cool stuff, but I'm not counting on it. I'm still planning on uniting us as a state, fighting back, getting, good candidates in office to counteract this nonsense, and also putting pressure on these sitting senators and these sitting House representatives that they need to do the job that they were hired to do.
All right. So, second question, what do you say to all the people who are like, I'm not complying, like I'm not, all the law abiding citizens who already have this stuff, never was a criminal, just want to live their damn lives and protect their family? Like, what do you say to those people when let's say this gets passed? Do you want them to comply and go jump through all the hoops? Like, like, I know it's a tough question, but
it's not a tough question for me because I'm a political jerk. To me, I'm saying stop thinking that way in the first place and start getting involved now. Stop making exceptions in your life to accept the things that you don't want, and instead put that energy and that focus and that attention and that visualization and action into creating the life that you want to live. You have that power. If we weren't so powerful and we weren't so able to make a difference, they wouldn't be attacking us so vividly, so relentlessly. I get that a lot from people saying, I'm just going to move out of Colorado. That's why I left. You have to think about more than yourself and stop being selfish about this shit. Because you have to think about an entire generation of our kids that need to know that they have these freedoms. They need to have these resources and education. What about the elderly also? What about the elderly people that can't pick up and leave? What about the kids that can't just pick up and leave? What about the handicapped people that can't just pick up and leave? What about them? Those are the marginalized communities that this affects the most. The poverty stricken, the handicapped, the elderly, the youth. These are the communities that suffer. So this is bigger than just yourself. This is about those people as well. And you have to fight for those that can't fight. You literally do. Because if you drive down Auraria Parkway in front of the University of Colorado entrance or medical campus down there or Auraria campus, this is a quote that I see all the time, and it's very important. You have to remember, we did not inherit this land from our ancestors. We are borrowing it from our children. So if you are leaving children with no recourse, they don't understand what liberty is, you are grooming these kids for failure, for complacency, to be dominated, and to have no spirit and no freedom and not know what freedom is. And what happens when there's nowhere else to run? What happens when there's nowhere else to run? Because this is a plague. You have to hold the line. You have to stand the ground at some point. So saying, I'm just not going to comply, you know what's going to happen? You're not going to have a gun shop to go to buy a gun to not comply. Because they're going to put them all the hell out of business. So you're going to be driving your asses to Wyoming and to other places to get guns. And what about those family-owned businesses like my friends at Spartan Defense that their livelihood is involved in this? Their businesses matter. Their children matter. What about them?
yeah.
And if you look at what happened to California, look how they're infecting Montana. Look how they're affecting Texas.
Yep.
Look at how Colorado used to be very, very hard red.
Yeah. That's
And
when I moved.
this is like La Cacarrochas, okay?
Yeah.
It's an infestation. You have to eradicate it. You have to stop it. You have to hold the line, and you have to get creative. You have to get united and powered. So anything you can do is important, whether it's donating money to our lawsuits and, donate to people that are actually in the fight. Rocky Mountain gun owners. You can donate to Mountain States Legal, who are my attorneys in my court case. You can donate to We the Second. You can donate to me. You can donate to all of these organizations that are actually in the fight. I love FPC. FPC's helping in some way, but, they can't really do what they want to do right now. They're working on it. When it comes to like the Second Amendment Foundation, they can't do anything until these laws pass, because the only way that they can do what they do is they have to file a lawsuit. So people are saying, how do we fight back? Well, unfortunately, if these pass, we would have to wait for them to pass, and somebody would have to be infringed to create standing and then create a lawsuit. And then it would still be something we have to deal with. That's how we're dealing with my 3-day waiting period. And it just becomes a long, drawn-out legislative process to go to the Supreme Court when we could cut the snake off of the head now.
Yeah, we got to vote these people out too. Like,
we got to vote these people out. We got to get
them
organized in our communities. You need to register to vote when you can vote and vote. You need to educate your community. You need to get involved in your community. Each one teach one. You need to train. You need to get vocal, and you need to use your platforms. You need to use your voices to inform people and organize people.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't do anything, you deserve to fail, because no action is an action.
Yep. I agree. Yeah, I'm here. What the fuck? I'm 10 those down. Say go. I'm ready when y'all are.
So that's what I know we've been on this for an hour, y'all, and I know people want to get home and do stuff or whatever, but like I see this guy saying FPC and GOA are two organizations. I love FPC. I don't love GOA, because GOA doesn't do a damn thing for Colorado. And I would love for them to, but they don't. So if you're in Colorado and you're giving Gun Owners of America money, keep in mind they're not doing anything for your state. Maybe they're doing stuff on a federal level, but they're not doing anything for Colorado.
NRA too. Let's keep it 100 while we're here.
Well, I will say this. The two people that I know from the NRA, and keep in mind I'm always doing this stuff, I keep track of who does what. I know these people by face and name. Our two NRA people that we have, one of his name is Lovelace and the other is Clay. They've actually shown up and testified. They've actually shown up, like for the assault weapons ban. They were in that room and they spoke out, which I appreciate. At the same time,
is he from Trinidad?
Who?
Either of those guys?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
But I will tell you this: the Ian Graham of Gun Owners of America, he don't do shit. He's not even in Colorado. His wife is a politician in Pueblo. He don't do shit. And I have reached out to GOA every time I see them. I ask them for help. They tell me that the lobbying laws are too hard and it's all these reasons why. And you know what? I really want to believe them. I really want to bridge that gap. I really would love their help, but they're not helping right now. So if you're in Colorado and you're donating money to people like GOA, I highly suggest, why don't you donate that money to Rocky Mountain Gun Owners? Because they're at least here and they're fighting for you.
Every time there's a bill, I see you guys are there.
Well, we live there.
Yeah.
And I want people to really get the gist of this, that this sucks for us. We don't do this for glory and glamour. We do this because somebody has to. If not me now, if not me, who? If not now, then when? I've literally lost jobs because of my involvement in this. It's to the point where I've been Kyle Rittenhoused in the state of Colorado that I can't get a job because people are like, oh shit, you're the boomstick babe. Oh shit, you're that gun chick. And I've been basically Kyle Rittenhouse. There's nothing I can do ever again that isn't gun oriented, because I've made myself such a notorious person that I'm affiliated with guns. Well, guess what? I pay for all of this. I do all of this on my own dime with my own time. I do this because I'm dedicated. And, when I hear people say, I can't, you make time for what's important in your life, folks. Let's be real. We're adults. You're not kids anymore. You make time for what's important for you. So if this isn't important for you, it shows.
Yeah.
So don't complain when, you're in a communist state and you're like, how did it get there? Because you did nothing. That's how it got there. And real talk, if we're going to lose, I'm going out fighting.
On my
I
sword.
will fight this tooth and nail until the very end.
Yeah.
Because at least I know I did the right thing and I was on the right team.
I just hope it
And I
don't
have to be
come.
okay with myself.
I hope it don't come to where we have martyrs, like, because that's where they're fucking pushing it, bro.
I know.
You can't just do this to people, like.
Hmm.
And I know they feel all safe up in Denver, and you know what El Paso County's about, like.
Hmm.
Like they're
Hmm.
fucking around with fire. I'm just gonna keep it like that. Like,
Hmm. Yep. So, I mean, that's how you guys can get involved. You can donate to me. You can donate to Rocky Mountain Gun Owners. You can donate to Mountain States Legal. You can donate to We the Second. You can reach out to your local gun shop and ask them if they know about the CFFLA and ask them what they're doing to fight back gun control. And guess what? There's a lot of these shops, they don't care about their fate. They're complacent. Stop shopping there.
yeah,
Shop places like Spartan Defense that care about you, that are fighting for you.
yeah. If you're going to a big box store where they're still selling you 10-round magazines, you're going to the wrong place.
You need to go to places that care about you, and you need to support local businesses. You really do. It's very, very important. So
Yeah.
that's what I
And
got to say about that.
any
And
closing arguments?
I'd rather catch a case than to catch a casket, y'all. You have the ability to fight this. You really do. So get up off of your asses and do it. And we're here. Like, I'm not one of those chicks that thinks she's too cool, or I don't think I'm like some cool influencer broad that I can't reach out and mingle with my people and talk to you and figure things out. If you feel that you can contribute something like a skill set, if you don't have money, I mean, we need your money, but if you don't have money and you have a skill set or you have a network or you have a platform, we could use that too.
Yep.
So get involved and reach out to us. You can contact me at Alicia at Spartan Defense, ALICIA at SpartanDefense.com. You can get people clued into the CFFLA. You can follow us on our platforms. You can share our content and subscribe. Teddy and I have a new show on Spartan Defense Armory on YouTube called The Second Syndicate, where we're going to be having guests every week that are pertinent to the Second Amendment in Colorado.
Mhm.
Last week we had John Fabricatore and Danielle Jurinsky. We have another guy set up this week who was in a self-defense shooting, who lost his eye in a home invasion and defended his family with a firearm. We have people from Columbine that are survivors that are pro 2A coming on. We have big names in, the gun space, professional athletes. We have a cool roster of people we're going to have on this show. So it really helps us to, go and hit that bell on our YouTube channel, hit that bell on, this platform for the Tactical Turkeys, and support our platforms and make sure that we still have the freedom of speech while we have it.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to share the information, because they like to do this shit last minute, last second,
Mm-hmm.
rewriting shit in there where nobody fucking knows. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I got a call from Teddy this morning. He's like, "Did you see what they did?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like, what are you? You know what I mean?
Go to the Second Syndicate on Facebook. That's our show. You can follow me and Spartan Defense on X, on Instagram. I am at the boomstickbabe on IG. On X platform, I'm really rowdy there. I'm at boomstickbabe there. I'm on TikTok. I'm on LinkedIn. Google a bitch. You'll find me.
Yep. And
Spartan Defense.
just lost my train. Oh, the Exum. Tony, please email this guy.
Oh, yeah. You want his information again? We'll give it to you again.
Spam
Tony
his shit.
Exum. Okay.
Yes.
Tony
Email this
Exum.
guy.
He is he is a Democrat, and he is in District 11 in Colorado, and that's El Paso County. His phone number to this Capitol office is 303-886-6364. His email is his room at the Capitol is room 346. If you email him, it's tony.exum .senate senate at coleg.gov. Blow up his spot, y'all. Do it with honor and do it with integrity.
Everyone,
But let him
everyone.
know that if he supports this gun ban, you will make sure he gets recalled, and we're
just
ready to do it.
Just a little hint: emails don't have area codes on them.
And if you're looking to get concealed handgun permitting in Colorado, reach out also. We are instructors. We do provide those services. Please bring your business to us because we're patriots. We're not cops.
Yep. And hit up Spartan Defense for all your 2A needs at the time being.
Shout out to Spartan Defense.
And the future.
Absolutely, y'all. And thank you to you, Fish. I appreciate you. Thank you for using your platform to bring awareness to this. And thank you to everybody who's out there in comments and everything for supporting us and signing in and spending your Saturday night with us. I know you guys could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us.
Yep. It's not a problem. If I get called, we need to get down. We'll get down. It's what it is.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, guys. Y'all be safe. Stay armed.
Peace out, guys.